I'd like to call the meeting to order. Mrs. Burns, roll call.
Mr. Sullivan?
Present.
Mrs. Hollenbeck?
Present.
Mr. Allen?
Present.
Mrs. Burgess is absent with prior notice. Mrs. Lafferty?
Here.
Mrs. Marshall?
Present.
Mr. Rodriguez is also absent with prior notice. Mr. Sporny?
Here.
And Mrs. Wallbazer?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The board met in executive session this evening prior to this meeting to discuss matters related to confidential student placements, labor-related matters, and personnel matters on the agenda. Mrs. Burns, any announcements?
No announcements.
Thank you. Mr. Bowman, Superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. On May 22nd and the 23rd, our Neshaminy District Art Show was held in Gym 1 at the high school. The room was packed with some of the best artworks from our talented students in every grade, including paintings, drawings, pottery, 3D sculptures, photography, digital art, animation, and more. Thanks to the art teachers who put the show on every year, and congratulations to all the student artists who were represented in the show. We're very proud of our award-winning arts program here at Neshaminy and appreciate everything that our teachers do to encourage self-expression and creativity at every grade level all year long. It's a pretty amazing display, and it takes an awful lot of time and effort from our teachers to put it on. So, again, thank you to them. Congratulations to our 5 Neshaminy High School students who won awards in the Pennsylvania Junior Academy of Science competition held at Penn State University recently. These students previously competed and won at the regional level, and all 5 that made it to the state level won awards. Muslima Rakamova, first place. Vic Chen, first place. Archer Williter, first place. Barb Arrow Shively, second place. And Laura De La Eris, second place. And congratulations again to all of them. Congratulations to our many members of the Neshaminy High School class of 2024 that received awards and scholarships at the Senior Awards Ceremony held on Thursday, May 23rd. Ceremony is a real testament to the tremendous support that we get from our community and from our coaches and staff for our graduating seniors by recognizing their many accomplishments over the past 13 years in academics, co-curriculars, and athletics. We thank everybody for that support and congratulate the entire class of 2024 as they get ready for that final walk into the stadium next Wednesday evening at 6:30 p.m. to receive their diplomas and celebrate the conclusion of their time here at Neshaminy. That's all I have, Mr. Sullivan.
Thank you, Mr. Bowman. That brings us to the first public comment period. Mrs. Burns, any sign-ups?
There were no signups.
Okay. Moving right along. That brings us to our action items for tonight. Mrs. Hollenbeck?
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. I'd like to make a master motion for 2.01 administrative retirements and resignations, 2.02 administrative appointments, and 2.03 certificated appointments. I would also like to take note that in 2.03, under certificated appointments, Victoria Gardner is in the audience. Welcome. Thank you.
We have a motion on the floor. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Allen. Comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Just note quickly, Victoria is a Neshaminy graduate as well, so it's nice to bring her back home.
Very excited to do that.
Good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Ms. Wallbeazer?
I'd like to make a master motion, 2.04 certificated leaves of absence, 2.05 certificated revised leaves of absence, and 2.06 certificated ancillary appointments.
We have a motion on the floor. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Hollenbeck. Comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Mrs. Marshall?
I'd like to make a master motion 2.07, support retirements and resignations, 2.08, support appointments, and 2.9 which probably should be 2.09. Oh. Okay. Support revised leaves of absence. And a note that in 2.07, support retirements and resignations, Janice Marks is retiring with 26 and a half years of service.
Thank you. We have a motion on the floor. Can I get a second? Second by Ms. Waldwieser. Comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Mr. Allen.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. I'd like to bring a motion to the floor. Agenda number 2.10, Flexible Instructional Day Application to the PDE. Whereas the Pennsylvania Department of Education permits districts to designate flexible instruction days. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors hereby approves the attached Flexible Instructional Days, FID, application for the 2023 to 2024 and 2 subsequent years to be submitted to the Pennsylvania Department of Education.
We have a motion on the floor. Can I get a second? Second by Mrs. Marshall. Comments, questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
I'd like to put a motion on the floor, 2.11, Bucks County Technical High School Joint Board Appointment. Whereas School Board Policy Number 005 requires that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors appoint board member representatives to the Joint Board Committee of the Bucks County Technical High School in accordance with the terms of the Articles of Agreement between the Bucks County Technical High School and the participating school districts. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors hereby appoints Mr. Carlos Rodriguez to complete the remainder of the 1-year term of Mr. Kellen Sporny as a member representative to the Joint Board Committee of the Bucks County Technical High School.
Motion on the floor. Can we get a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Sporny.
A little fast there, Mr. Sporny.
Quickest second you ever given. Any comments, observations, or questions?
Mr. Sporny was rather fast, and Mr. Rodriguez isn't here, so he gets to.
I'll make one comment or a comment or two. I spent a short time on the board at the tech school, and I really just appreciated it. And kind of getting in there, getting down in there, and really seeing behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, how everything works was really fascinating, impressive, and really fantastic. So John has spent and does spend a lot of time advocating for that, and it's really for a great cause. So thank you.
Thank you. So we have a second on the floor. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
I'd like to place a motion on the floor for 2.12, the 21st Century Community Learning Grant. Whereas the Neshaminy School District was awarded funding for the 21st Century Community Learning Grant, and whereas the grant provides funding that provides academic, artistic, and enrichment opportunities to students and their families before and after school, and whereas the district would receive up to $600,000 per year for 5 years to fund this before and after school program. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors hereby acknowledges and accepts the 21st Century Community Learning Center's grant.
We have a second on the floor. Can I get it? We have a motion on the floor. Can I get a second? Second by Mrs. Marshall. Any comments or questions?
Can we just have for the record what exactly this grant entails so that the public knows what it is for?
Sure. So it's obviously quite a grant, $600,000 a year for the next 5 years. It funds any before school, after school, or summer program here in Neshaminy. So it provides a lot of very, very unique opportunities, for students and families and so forth in the community. So we're very excited about it. It's a grant that a few of the cabinet members have been part of in other school districts, and it is very beneficial to our students. So we're looking forward to getting started with it.
Thank you. Okay, we have a second on the floor. Can go for a vote now. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Mrs. Lafferty.
I'd like to place a motion on the floor, 2.13, first reading of policy. Whereas the Board Policy Committee reviewed the policies listed below at the May 16, 2024 committee meeting, and whereas the board policies listed below are being recommended for policy first reading, now therefore be it resolved that Neshaminy School Board of Directors reviewed the policies listed below and recommend a second reading and final adoption at the June 18, 2024 public board meeting. It's section 919, and it's for advertising.
Thank you. Can I get a second? We have a motion on the floor. Can I get a second? Second by Ms. Walbeezer. Comments or questions?
Just for the record, I wanted to make sure that the speaker from last meeting, everything was addressed to their satisfaction, correct?
Correct.
Yes. I also spoke with them after the changes were made. So it did address their concerns in regards to banners and where the revenue from banners went. And I will subsequently follow up with that individual in terms of placement of banners in the stadium and so forth. So yes, he was comfortable and content with the changes that were made to the policy.
Thank you.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
I'd like to place a motion on the floor, 2.14, confidential settlement agreement. Whereas a confidential settle agreement has been prepared by the district labor solicitor, now therefore be it resolved, the confidential settlement agreement prepared by the district labor solicitor is hereby approved and accepted, and the board president, secretary, and administration are authorized to execute any and all documents necessary to effectuate the terms of the settlement agreement on behalf of the school district.
Motion on the floor. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Marshall. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Items for approval at the public board meeting. 3.01, routine business matters. 3.02, 2024-2025 final operating budget. 3.03, 2024 homestead and farmstead exclusion. 3.04, contracted healthcare consultant services. 3.05, stop loss insurance for 2024-2025. 3.06, year-end budget transfers. 3.07, budgetary adjustments for federal and other programs. 3.08, Sunday facility usage. 3.09, student activity accounts. 3.10, the Irene Boyle Senior Citizen Tax Assistance Program. 3.11, Bucks County Regional Wide Area Network Resolution. 3.12, local, state, and national contract participation authorization. 3.13, revised annual appointments for 2024-2025. 3.14, contracted services for 2024-2025. 3.04, summer pass, County of Bucks agreement. 3.16, summer pass opioid grant. 3.17, summer pass acceptance of donation. 3.18, out-of-district placements. 3.09, overnight trips. 3.20, summer work projects approval. 3.21, acceptance of donation. 3.22, advertising agreement with Inspire Federal Credit Union. That'll be a 12-hour meeting, I think. So, okay. That brings us to the committee reports. Business operations, Mrs. Hollenbeck.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. We have our last business operations meeting for the calendar school year tomorrow, 6:30 in this room. We will be discussing the final proposal for the budget that we're passing for the following year. So if anybody has any questions or concerns or just want to understand how things work, please come out to that meeting. There's a little bit more interaction that's available during the committee meetings. Thank you.
Thank you. Educational development, is anyone filling in for Mr. Rodriguez? We don't have a report because they were, yeah, right, okay, there's no report, okay. Facilities and planning, Mr. Allen?
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. The Facility and Planning Committee met Thursday, May 9th, in this room. And we got an update on the Fieldhouse project, update on the construction of the Core Creek Elementary. I believe we went over color selections of that building. And we went through a discussion with First Consulting of routing assessment for busing. And a representative from the company that provides us with, or is proposing the bus patrol program, came and filled in some of answered some of our questions we had with that. The next meeting of the Facility and Planning Committee is in this room, was June 13th, coming up at 6:30. Which I forgot to mention what time our other meeting was. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Policy, Mrs. Lafferty?
The committee last met on May 16th to talk about advertising and facility usage, but that was our last meeting for the school year, so we'll pick up in the fall.
Thank you.
Thank you.
IU Board, Ms. Walbeezer?
Nothing new to report other than the graduation is tonight, so.
Okay, Neshaminy Education Foundation, Mr. Sworney?
Yes, the board of the Neshaminy Education Foundation will be meeting next Monday, June 10th at 4. At that time, elections will be held for the positions of president, vice president, and secretary of the NEF board. The NEF is pleased to announce that donations received from the recent Dr. Gary L. Bowman Memorial will be used to fund a scholarship in his name for at least the next 10 years. The NEF board thanks the Bowman family for their support of this memorial fund. This school year, the NEF had one of their most successful fundraising years ever and is looking forward to continuing that trend next year. Thank you to the entire Neshaminy community, district administration, and the Neshaminy School District staff for their ongoing administrative and financial support for the mission and activities of the NEF. Thank you, Mr. Bowman and Mr. Sullivan.
Thank you, Mr. Sworney. PSBA Liaison?
No report at this time.
Thank you. Mr. Allen, Tech School?
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. The Bucks County Technical High School Joint Board met on Tuesday, May 28th at 7:30 at the Tech School, where we had the pleasure of student recognition awards, many of them from Skills USA. It was my pleasure to recognize one of our students who achieved the rank of Eagle Scout. As we're doing our Students of the month of April, I wanted to point out that ninth grader Savannah Dunleavy of Neshaminy got that distinction. While I'm on my student report here, we have 3 students from various programs attended the DECA International Career Development Conference in Anaheim, California from April 27th to April 30th. In addition to competition, they engaged with guest speakers, mentorship programs, professional development workshops, and a college fair. On our senior awards night of the class of 2024 was held on Thursday, May 16th. 76 students received monetary scholarships, presidential awards, and/or distinguished student awards. The Bucks County Technical High School Foundation for Educational Excellence provided the majority of the monetary awards, and students reported receiving over $238,000 in scholarships from post-secondary schools. We also, at that meeting, we discussed the annex grant, or I should say our improvement to the annex building. It was originally part of the horticultural program. It sat vacant and unused for quite a bit of time. Mr. Holtzman came up with a plan to try and rehab that and use it as educational space. In order to do that, we have applied for the Public School Facility Improvement Grant. That is in a number of 1.85 million. So fingers crossed that we get that. We have much need for that educational space. While I'm talking grants, we accepted a grant from the Gene Hawes Foundation in the amount of $30,000, and that is to support scholarships, Skills USA machining competitions, and NIMS credentialing for the Bucks County Technical High School Machine Technology Program. And that needs to be expended by June 30th of 2026. I will also mention in closing that we have continuing to discuss our articles of agreement, which are coming due, I believe, the end of next year. And so far, negotiations are going well. So that will conclude my report, other than the next meeting for the Tech Board will be Monday, June 24th, again at 7:30. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. That brings us to the closing of the meeting. Second public comment period. Anyone have anything to discuss or want to approach the podium? Okay. Anyone have any future topics? Anyone have any board comment?
Oh, can we just say congratulations in advance to all the students who are graduating next week?
Yes, yes you can. All right. And-
Yeah, I'd like to echo Mrs. Marshall. This is our last meeting before all the kids move on to their next grade and they graduate. Our graduation is next Wednesday, June 12th, that the weather holds out. I hope everybody enjoys their summer, and for everybody graduating, I look forward to seeing your names in lights with all of your future endeavors. Everybody have a great summer. For those of you that are leaving right away, we still have one more meeting, but I just wanted to say congratulations again.
Okay, with that, I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second? Any comment? I'm not going to ask if anyone's again opposed. Okay. Have a good night.
Have a good night.